Hello everybody and welcome back.
We're going to be talking to Dr. Hewett today. She's going to talk about pet toxins.
And common household poisons and all the bad stuff.
So we'll turn it over to the lovely Dr. Hewett.
All right.
Hi everybody. So today we're going to talk about toxins. It's super important. The summer's coming up. There's lots of insecticides, fertilizers, foods, a lot of stuff going on. So it's very important to know what's toxic, what's not toxic, what can I give my dog, what I can't. So let's start with chemicals. So rodenticides, insecticides, it's the summer. We're going to be spraying the yards, trying to get rid of bugs. It's very important to realize anything we're trying to kill, whether it's bugs, whether it's rodents, could actually harm our pets. So it's very important to keep these away from our pets. So cabinets that they can't get into, cats especially, can be super sneaky about opening those cabinet drawers. So be very careful with those. Cleaning products, specifically anything with bleach, anything that's corrosive. One lick and it can cause some severe GI upset. Which is not happy for anybody. You don't want to have to deal with any vomiting or diarrhea or anything like that with your pet. It's also important to note, which most people don't realize, the automatic toilet cleaners. You put them in your toilet, the dogs drink the water. It can cause GI problems. So it's very important to either not use those or make sure you're closing the lid on those toilets when you're done. So swimming pool products. It's the summer. Everybody's opening up their pool. Dog drinks the liquid. There's all kinds of chemicals in the swimming pool that can cause all kinds of GI upset as well. So it's important to either keep your dog away from the pool or not let them drink too much of the water. Everybody likes their dog swimming, which is fine, but if they're going to be the type to drink all the water as soon as they get in there, it's best to just keep them away from the swimming pools. Personal medication. We all take medication for different reasons. It's important to keep our medication away from the dogs and the cats. And if for some reason you think that one of your pets has gotten into your medication, always bring that medication here, because it's hard to know what we're treating without knowing what they got into. Specifically, cats with acetaminophen. Acetaminophen comes in a lot of different pain relievers. Cats can be very toxic to these. Acetaminophen can be very toxic to cats, can cause death pretty quickly. And so if you're ever wondering, you know what, my dog hurts, what can I give them at home? Don't give them anything. Call us. We can get you something that's safe for these guys. No aspirin, no ibuprofen, nothing for these guys. Oh, a big one, ethylene glycol. Most people don't know what that is. It's what antifreeze is made of. So say you're changing the antifreeze in your car, it gets on the ground. Ethylene glycol is very, very sweet tasting. So dogs and cats are attracted to it and they eat it, and you may not see any problem in the beginning, but then we start showing, again, vomiting, diarrhea. It's very toxic to their nervous system, so it can start causing them to have seizures and tremors and then even comas with these guys. So GI signs first, and it can even cause renal failure, all kinds of stuff. So keep the ethylene glycol, the antifreeze, anything with ethylene glycol in it, keep it away. And if for some reason it drips on the carport, soak it up, wash it up, get rid of it. All right, so let's talk about plants. So again, it's the summer, stuff's blooming, so it's time to start thinking about what is toxic, what can I plant, what can't I plant, who's eating what. Cats tend to eat certain leaves, dogs tend to eat certain leaves. If you have any questions about plants, you can always go to the ASPCA website. It has a great list of different plants that are toxic. What can I plant, what can't I plant. Aloe. Most people don't think aloe can be toxic to animals. Azaleas can be toxic to animals. Holly, sago palm, all those can be toxic. Yew is a big one. It can be severely toxic, cause death in some of these animals. Mountain laurel, tulips. But let's spend a little bit of time on lilies. We all have lilies. They're so pretty. Any type of lily can be toxic, especially to cats. If you have any lilies in your house and you have a cat, I'm going to say just chunk it out the window. We don't need any lilies in the house with a cat.
Not the cat.
Not the cat. Don't chunk the cat out the window. Chunk the lilies out the window. So all parts of the lily is toxic. You know, some of these plants, it's just the bud or it's just the leaf. Every single part of the lily is toxic to cats. So even the pollen that's coming off the lilies is toxic. So even the water that you're using in the vase for the lily can be toxic to cats. And the problem with lilies is you may not even know that your cat ate them. It may not cause any kind of GI upset or anything. And then 3 days later, your cat goes into renal failure.
Oh gosh.
This is why it's so important to keep lilies away from cats. Dogs might cause some GI upset, not a huge deal, but cats, it's very, very, very important to keep the lilies away from them. All right, so let's talk about foods. You know, we all drop crumbs on the floor, and of course the dog is gonna be there to clean up your mess for you, but it's important to know what crumbs they can eat and what crumbs they can't eat.
I'm his best friend, okay?
So,
good looking out.
Onions and garlic are a big one. Toxic to animals. I know a lot of people are going the natural route and think that garlic can keep fleas off of their pets, etc. But garlic can actually cause some pretty damaging signs to their blood system, and it doesn't smell very good at all. So raw bread dough, especially with yeast. So you imagine yeast makes the bread dough rise. And so if a dog eats raw bread dough with yeast, it's going to make their stomach expand and overexpand, and it can cause their stomach to rupture. Not to mention, all that yeast is going to ferment in their system and can cause GI signs, it can cause liver failure, it can cause some pretty serious signs. Now, it's not as common to feed your dog yeast, but it is common that dogs get into chocolate. We all love chocolate. We love keeping it in our house. Probably every house in this country has chocolate in there. It's important to keep it away from your dog. It's sweet. We all love it. Keep it away. So, especially dark chocolate. So the darker the chocolate is, the worse it is for them, because it's got certain chemicals. It's got caffeine in it, and it's got a chemical called theobromine in it. What these chemicals do is these guys can't process them right. So it'll cause GI upset, like most stuff that is toxic. In the beginning, it's GI. And then it causes overstimulation of the nervous system. So like caffeine, we drink caffeine all the time to keep us awake, keep us stimulated. These guys get overstimulated, so it can cause seizures, it can cause comas, it can cause tremors, it can cause all these neurologic problems. And then if you have neurologic problems going on, it can affect the heart. So that's where you get the coma, the arrhythmias. Usually if it's gonna harm a dog so much that it's gonna kill them, it's gonna be from heart-related problems, not necessarily the seizures or the GI upset. So it starts to accumulate, and eventually it's bad news for everybody. So keep the chocolate away. Keep the baker's chocolate away. Keep the dark chocolate away. Keep all chocolate away. If it's milk chocolate, it doesn't usually cause as much of a problem, but just keep it all away. Raisins. We all love raisins and grapes. It's summer. It's a fruit. Let's eat and let's be healthy and let's drink wine and so grapes and raisins are toxic. So we talked about lilies and cats. So grapes are the equivalent to the lilies and cats, but in dogs. So it causes the renal failure, and again, it might not cause any GI upset. Dog might be fine. Oh, my dog didn't vomit, didn't have any diarrhea. It's probably fine. And then within 72 hours, we have renal failure. So you might think that it's fine, but in 3 days, your dog's either peeing a lot or not peeing at all, and the kidneys just become damaged, and it's not a good situation for anybody. And it's important to realize it's not just the grapes. The raisins too. So your kids, feeding them raisins or dropping them on the floor. If you have any dogs that are going to come out You pick up the crumbs. If you're feeding raisins, just don't feed the raisins to your child, or make sure the dog is out of the room and make sure it's cleaned up, etc., etc. So raisins are a big one. Xylitol. So most people don't know what xylitol is. Basically, it's in sugar-free gum that makes it sweet. So anything that says sugar-free most likely has xylitol in it. What xylitol does to dogs is it stimulates insulin release. So insulin is from the pancreas. Xylitol gets in their system. It causes the pancreas to say, get out insulin. I need more and more insulin. So what happens is it drops their blood glucose severely, and it can cause weakness, depression, seizures, anything like a diabetic that has been has too much insulin will cause in a dog. The xylitol will cause it, and it can even cause seizures, death, coma, all the bad stuff that I hate to talk about, but it's very important that we realize this. So on a side note, not necessarily a food or a chemical or a plant, but pennies. So we don't think about the pennies that we have lying around in our seat cushions, but actually pennies have a lot of zinc in them. And so the zinc can actually start being corrosive in the dog's stomach if the dog eats it. Specifically pennies that are made after, I believe it's 1983, they have like 97% zinc in them.
You're a genius.
So the pennies get ingested, the stomach starts trying to digest it, and it becomes corrosive, almost as corrosive as like a battery if a child were to eat a battery. So very corrosive. Try to keep pennies away. Nobody ever thinks about the pennies. So one more thing, blue-tailed lizards. Very common to see these guys in the summer. Cats love to eat lizards. We think it's cute. They're keeping the lizards away. But that blue tail, even though it's pretty, can be severely neurotoxic to cats. And it can cause all kinds of tremors, seizures. Some of it can be reversible. Some of it can't be reversible. So if you ever see your cat playing with a blue-tailed lizard, separate them as soon as possible. Other lizards likely are going to be okay, but the blue-tailed ones, keep them away. So that's pretty much all I have for today. There are so many different things that are toxic to animals. We have these pamphlets made by the ASPCA, has a list of different toxins. If you're ever worried that your pet has eaten something, just call us. Call the ASPCA website number, and they can definitely give you more information. If you're not sure, just bring them in. I'll look at them. We'll determine what they've eaten. If you know what they've eaten, say it's a plant or a chemical, bring that with them so that we know exactly what's in it, so that we can definitely treat your pet appropriately. And if you have any questions, just give us a call. Thanks so much.
All right.
And that wraps things up for this week. So you guys tune in next week.
Next Wednesday with Dr. Hewett? Carr? Who is it? All right.
Well, just give us a call if you have any questions or send us an email, and we would love to hear from you guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.